Hey everybody, it's Kory. Thanks for joining me. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the housing stats for the month of July here in North Idaho. At the end of the video, we've got a new listing you might want to check out. All right, let's jump into the stats. First thing we're going to look at is the interest rates. Ended the month of July at 6.6%, and you can kind of see historically what that means. We've been sitting between 6 and 7% for several years now. Waiting for relief, it hasn't come yet. All right, jumping into the median sales price here in North Idaho. We ended the month of July at $575,000. That is up 2.7% over the last July. So prices again going up. You can kind of see what they do here. I gave you a historical chart to see what the median sales prices are doing. Right now, they kind of sit where they sat in the summer of 21, 22. You can see that prices go up and down seasonally, but they've kind of stayed in that 500 to 600,000 price point, and prices really haven't done much. They haven't gone much up or much down since the boom. All right, looking at new listings. For the month of July, we had 837 new homes hit the market. Again, that could be new construction. It could be pre-existing. These are just simply new to the market, coming onto the inventory for the first time. Inventory or new listings was up 8%, so more people jumping on the bandwagon to sell their homes here in the summer. Here's a historical chart showing those new listings. You can see that in 2019, 2020, a lot of people put their houses on the market, and then during the last several years, fewer people are wanting to move or put their houses on the market, and that has definitely trended back up since 2024. And remember, a lot of people just didn't want to put their houses on the market when they had low interest rates, and people have been waiting for interest rates to come down, because when they sell their house at a low interest rate, they want to buy their house at a low interest rate. And honestly, I think people have just gotten tired of waiting for interest rates to come back down, or they know reality is they're not going to come back down to where they were. And as people face reality, they start to put their homes back on the market. So that's what we're seeing. All right, coming back to the stats, we got homes for sale or inventory for the month of July were 2,044. That is down 13.8% from the same time last July. And you can see historically here, the overall inventory is up from the all-time lows of 21 and 22, but not quite up to where it was last year. And you can see here pending sales for the month of July, we had 570 homes put under contract. That is up 30.7% over the same month last year. A lot of people buying in North Idaho this summer. Now, that doesn't mean that it's all-time buying season. You can see historically here, pending sales, the most activity we had was during the boom of 21, 22. And then since 2022, when the Fed started raising interest rates, you can see the big drop off in people buying homes. And then we've slowly crept back up over the last several years, and then this summer you can see a little bit of a spike up. It's been a busy buying season here in North Idaho, but nowhere near what it was during the boom. All right, looking at July closed sales, these are the homes that actually closed contract. We had 492 close in July. That is down 0.6%. Historically, what that looks like is, you can see here, the most all-time closed sales were again during the boom. We went down to the bottom there in 2024, and we've slowly crept back up. And we always remind people that just because something goes under contract doesn't mean that it's going to close sale. And that is certainly what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of people buying, a lot of homes going to escrow, but about 20, maybe even at times 30% of them are falling out of escrow. Biggest reason? Inspections. Buyers don't have the money once they go under contract to do a lot of improvements on homes, so they're trying to get things that were revealed in inspection fixed by the seller. The seller, on the other hand, doesn't want to pay to have things fixed because they feel like they came down to get that home under contract, and they don't want to give up more money for their home. Again, a lot of sellers are kind of living 5-6 years ago when homes were going off the market quick and they could get top dollar. The market's a little different now. Buyers are a lot more savvy and not as desperate. There's not as many buyers in the market, so there's not the big bidding wars that we had during the boom. And sellers are coming to the reality that buyers are a little bit more stubborn now. And when you get a stubborn buyer and a stubborn seller, things are probably going to fall out of escrow unless you have an experienced real estate agent on both sides that can kind of explain what the market's doing. So there you have it. Those are the housing stats for the month of July here in North Idaho. You guys, if you have questions about buying or selling, either now or in the distant future, I'd love to answer your questions. There's a link in the description below on how to get a hold of us. I'd love to answer your questions via Zoom, phone call, or email. And remember, you guys, if you're looking to buy or sell, you've got to interview at least 3 real estate agents. Don't take what you see on social media or AI as gospel. You need to sit down and do some homework. Interview 3 agents if you're selling a home. Interview 3 agents if you're buying a home. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of self-proclaimed experts in a market. There's a lot of manipulation as far as AI and how people are getting their names on AI. There's a lot of tricks that people are using to appear on social media. And that makes them great at social media, but it might not necessarily make them great at what? Real estate, which is what you're hiring them for. So interview them. Sit down with agents. Do your homework. Ask them the hard questions. What can they do for you? What do they charge? Ask them about their experience, not just their thoughts on how good they are. Make them show it to you. Make them prove it to you. All right, coming up, the listing that we just put on the market. Martinelli Realty team just put this on the market. It's a new house on 17.7 acres. Check it out, see what you think. And if you have questions about it, there'll be a link in the description below with more information that you can get your questions answered there. All right, let's check out the property.